Well, we continue this hour with a crushing ice storm blamed for 41 deaths in at least 6 states. 500,000 people remain without power, stretching from Texas to Maine. This system coated most of the country with 2 inches of snow. One of the hardest hit areas is eastern Oklahoma, and that is where NBC's Charles Hadlock joins us. Charles, how many people are affected this morning?
Good morning, Amy. 100,000 people are waking up without power here in Oklahoma today, and this is one reason why. A lot of ice covers trees and power lines in this state. It's as if someone opened an ice box and turned on the ice maker. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is one of the tree branches that is covered in ice. Look how thick that is. That's about an inch of ice around this one branch here. And it's like this all over the place. They've got power lines down all over eastern Oklahoma. 100,000 people, as we say, are without power. FEMA has arrived on the scene with generators, and electrical crews are working to put up the lights one more time here in Oklahoma, Amy.
And Charles, any idea as to how long those people may be without power?
They're estimating it could be up to 3 weeks in some places, Amy. They're bringing in crews from as far away as Louisiana and Texas into eastern Oklahoma, and they are going to be working around the clock trying to get the lights back on here. But it is such a rural area, it's such a rugged area, and it remains frozen and will likely stay this way through the end of the week in places. So it's going to be very difficult to get the lights back on anytime soon in this part of the world.
Well, people with fireplaces are going to be the place to be today, or at least for the next couple of days. Charles, thank you. Well, new reports say the U.S. military has sold off surplus equipment that eventually made its way to forbidden countries, including Iran. The Associated Press is reporting buyers exploited security flaws in Pentagon auctions to buy gear that was then sold to Iran and China. The sales included fighter jet parts and missile components. No comment on this report yet from the Pentagon. Well, there are still many questions to be answered in the mysterious abductions of 2 Missouri boys who were rescued by authorities last week. 41-year-old Michael Devlin is being held on $1 million bail in connection with the kidnappings. He's scheduled to be arraigned sometime in the next couple of days. Now, the Today Show's Meredith Vieira spoke with the mother of 13-year-old Ben Ownby about the moment police told her they had found her son.
I said, "We have who?" Because I thought he was talking about the bad guy. I didn't think he was talking about Ben. And then he said, "We have Ben." And I think I screamed.
Doris, what did you do?
I got by everybody and I grabbed him and just held on to him for a long time. So we just stood there for a while.
Well, for more on this case, let's bring in former FBI profiler and MSNBC analyst Clint Van Zandt. Clint, thanks for being with us.
Hi, Amy. Good morning.
So obviously that was a happy scene there, and
Sure.
You could see this family really was starting to heal. But there are a lot of components to the story that continue to surface, and especially in connection with the older boy who was found along with Ben Ownby. What do we know about these internet postings that may have been overlooked during Sean Hornbeck's disappearance? That's the 15-year-old in this case.
Well, you know, I think one of the things we're learning is that there were posters, 3 or 4. There were websites created that had or something, the name or close to the name of Sean Devlin, obviously Sean being his first name, Devlin being the name of the alleged kidnapper. There were messages posted on the Sean Hornbeck website, ostensibly again by Sean Hornbeck himself. One message says, you know, how long do you plan on, you know, continue looking for your son? And then a few hours later, the same person wrote back and apologized for writing that, asked permission to write a poem and have it posted there, and that never happened. So, you know, we've got a couple of things, Amy. Number one, somebody else has assumed an identity and just did it for yucks and grins, stupid. Number two, we've got Sean doing it, maybe just trying to raise a feeble hand and say, you know, somebody please help me. I can't help myself, but please recognize this writing and come get me. And number three, in a worst case scenario,
Amy
it could be
Clint,
his...
I'm sorry to interrupt here. I just want to interrupt for just a moment. We're getting these live pictures in from Kentucky. This is Shepherdsville, Kentucky. These are live pictures. There's a train derailment. There's a large fire going on. We're trying to get more information on this story. We'll continue to follow it and look and watch the pictures. You can continue with your conversation with Clint.
All right, Clint, you were telling us about the worst case scenario.
The worst case could be his abductor that had adopted Sean's identity and was using it as a lure, trying to get some type of contact with yet other boys to bring them under his control. So we're not going to know the answers to this till we talk to Sean, until we talk to the alleged kidnapper, Devlin, and find out who actually, if either of the two of them, participated. But Amy, back again, if it's Sean, it still speaks to these emotional handcuffs, the shackle that held him for these 4 years, that he may have made an effort, but he couldn't complete that effort to say, I'm Sean Harmbeck, please help me go home.
It's sad on any of those levels. What do we know about Michael Devlin? We know that he did not have a past criminal history, but I've been reading today about his seemingly friendly relationships with local police officers. In fact, most police officers knew Michael Devlin.
Well, we find a lot of, the dumb crooks, the dumb bad guys get caught all the time. It's the ones that are reasonably smart. If you can maintain two personalities, if you can have the dark side of the force, or whatever that is within us, evil, let's call it, that you would be able to cultivate a relationship. You stand accused of kidnapping 2 different children. Lord knows what took place in the confines of that apartment, at least with Sean. And still on the outside, you're flipping pizzas, you're talking to cops, you're friends with everybody else. I mean, he was able to compartmentalize the activities that he was doing. And again, we find this in successful criminals, and most of all in successful pedophiles.
All right, Clint Van Zandt, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Amy, we have a little bit more information now on this fire that we've been watching in Kentucky. This is a train on fire. It's south of Louisville in Bullitt County. We're not sure exactly what caused the derailment, but there's a large fire going on right now. You can see the smoke there, and as the camera pulls out. So we're following these pictures. We'll get more information. We're reaching out to local officials to try to get them to give us some more information on this. So we'll continue to follow this.
All right, Mike, thank you. And coming up, the winners, the couples, the surprises. We'll break down all of the big moments from the Golden Globes and talk about what it may mean for the Oscars. And politics out front as a former aide to Vice President Dick Cheney goes on trial. We're going to talk about the case against Scooter Libby in just a few moments.
Tonight, the president says his war plan is a new way forward. But could tough talk lead to war with Iraq's neighbors? Scarborough Country, MSNBC tonight at 9.
Joe's been my plumber for 6 years and was recently working on a drainage problem in my home. So I called him from work to let him know that I'd be a little late. Unfortunately, no one told Molly, my 3-year-old Papillon. Joe patiently paraded her up and down the street, sacrificing his time and dignity until her business was done. That's why he's the only plumber I'll ever use.
Visit Angie's List for thousands of unbiased reports from members in your area. Borrow some experience at Angie's List.
The war in Europe is over. The unconditional surrender.
This is our country.
After 89 years in the making, this is our truck. The 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. The all-new Chevy Silverado.
Who's in the mood for a big weekend breakfast?
It's Tuesday, Dad.
I know.
No time. Gotta be at school early.
But the stuff's already chopped up. It's Jimmy Dean.
No trip, Dad. Sorry, gotta hustle.
But it's practically ready.
Wish I could. I have a status meeting.
Guys, I have to illuminate the entire Eastern Seaboard in 15 minutes. I think we have time.
The day begins with a happy breakfast. Try new bacon skillets made with real Jimmy Dean bacon.
To those of you who see fit to leave your old bank this year and go in search of somewhere a little better, we just have one thing to say. Happy landings. Pacific Continental. The right bank.
Bring your imagination to life at Beach's Ultra All-Inclusive Family Resorts. Dancing and prancing and laughing with ease. Splashing and dashing whatever you please. from the catch of the day to Sesame Street waif. For those you adore, Beaches gives more. For really big savings, call 1-800-BEACHES or visit our website.
Wow, I have always dreamed, but never, ever this big. Ever. And it's such an honor to play a role that I hear from young girls on a daily basis how it makes them feel worthy and lovable and that they have more to offer the world than they thought.
Jennifer Hudson and America Ferrera, they're both heard. Two virtual unknowns with two big wins at last night's Golden Globes. America Ferrera won for her role in the TV show Ugly Betty, and Jennifer Hudson, once an American Idol reject, won for her role in the movie Dreamgirls. Let's take you back now to Kentucky, where we have a live look at a raging fire following a train derailment. We don't have a lot of information on this one, but we'll tell you what we know at this hour. This train derailment and subsequent fire is taking place about 20 miles south of Louisville, Kentucky. It's in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. That's in Bullitt County, to be specific. We don't know how it happened, but clearly what a mess on the hands for firefighters and emergency crews who are responding to the scene there. Our affiliate obviously over there, over the scene with a helicopter. The black smoke alone gushing out of this fire. And again, we don't know exactly what type of train this was that derailed. You can see firefighters on the scene trying to douse some water. But this looks like this is complete and total destruction in terms of this train, and it looks like a lot of the trains are off the track, and it looks as though, as you see here, the fire itself has skipped over the road from the railroad tracks onto some grass on the other side of the road. Some vehicles nearby don't exactly have an idea of just what type of area this is, but clearly you see some structures within a close distance. It looks like maybe a home there just on the other side of that road, and firefighters from the road, they can't even get too close, it looks like. This looks like a hot fire that is burning out of control. This happened just a short while ago, again, in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. That is about 20 miles south of Louisville, Kentucky. And again, you can see all the cars that took off, that went off the tracks here. And again, we're still trying to effort some information as to exactly what type of train this was, what the load was it was carrying. And obviously, it was incredibly flammable because this fire is huge. As we take a live look here at the aerials coming to us just over the scene right now. This is in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. It's Bullitt County. And we just have very little information at this hour. Again, we know that the train derailed, a fire ensued, and firefighters have a tough job on their hands trying to douse these flames. They are wildly burning here. We're still trying to figure out exactly what that train was carrying, if anyone was injured at all when this derailment happened, and frankly, how the derailment happened. So as we take a look at this incredible video, this is live video coming to us right now with some major black smoke, flames shooting several, looks like at least 100 feet up into the air at this point in time, and of concern. It looks like the winds are blowing in the right direction for that home, but I think I see some homes on the other side of that as well. This looks like a slightly rural area, but definitely with some structures and some homes, some barns maybe perhaps in the area, and that fire just looks like it may be raging over with the black smoke onto some of the grassy areas. We know that at least it jumped to the left of the tracks there and is burning that stretch of grass where you see a structure very close with a lot of vehicles right there in that parking lot as well. And again, this fire, it definitely looks like it skipped over the tracks onto the right side as well now that we get a better look. The black smoke really hindering exactly what may be burning, except for we obviously know that the train cars are burning quite furiously. And all I see right now is one fire truck on the scene and clearly keeping its distance as it continues to try and fight this fire. And I just got some other information. It looks like there was a locomotive fire as well yesterday, causing a chemical fire. And this, it looks like something there obviously is fueling the flames. So we'll continue to keep our eye on this situation clearly developing in Kentucky as a huge fire has ensued after this train derailment. We'll let you know if we get any new details. Well, an unusual trial begins today in Washington, D.C. Vice President Dick Cheney's former chief of staff, Louis Scooter Libby, is facing perjury and obstruction charges in a connection with the CIA leak case. Jurors will face questions about their views on both the Bush administration as well as the Iraq War. NBC's David Schuster was at that courthouse in Washington. So, David, for people who haven't kept up with all of the twists and turns, and there have been quite a few in this case, what does this trial boil down to?
Well, Amy, the thread that will run through this entire case is how the Bush administration sold the war in Iraq, and then specifically how the vice president's office tried to undermine a critic after the war began. All of this, of course, stems from the leak to reporters that essentially compromised the identity of CIA operative Valerie Wilson. She was the wife of the Bush administration critic Joe Wilson. And during the course of the investigation, prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald aggressively tried to reconstruct conversations between Bush administration officials and also between Bush administration officials and reporters. And during that investigation, prosecutors concluded that Vice President Cheney's chief of staff, Scooter Libby, lied to the FBI early on in the case and then also lied on the witness stand in front of the grand jury. So Scooter Libby's facing those 2 counts of perjury, 2 counts of making false statements, 1 count of obstruction of justice. In order to try to get a fair and impartial jury, the judge has decided he needs to have a pool of at least 100 residents of the District of Columbia. Approximately 60 will be brought in this morning. They will be put on the witness stand one by one, where they will face questions like, do you know anything about this case? Do you believe the Bush administration deliberately misled the American people about the war? Do you have strong feelings about Vice President Cheney? Jury selection is expected to take 2 or 3 days, and then everybody, all the lawyers in this case, believe that opening arguments in the case could start as early as next Monday. Amy?
All right, David, thank you. We appreciate it. For an interactive breakdown of the possible witnesses in the Lewis Libby trial, you can log onto our website at msnbc.com. Hollywood celebrated its golden night with wins for the movies Dreamgirls and Babel, while both new and experienced actors walked away with Globes. With me now to break down the winners and the losers, Tom O'Neill, columnist for the Los Angeles Times Awards website, theenvelope.com. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be here, Amy.
So what was your favorite moment of the night, Tom?
I think it was the very first moment of the night when Jennifer Hudson took the podium and did what great stars are supposed to do, especially great ingenue stars like she is on the scene. She wowed us with an acceptance speech that was tearful, that was heartfelt. She said, now I feel accepted here and part of it all. And if you know the story of her being as a cast-off on American Idol, and the story of her on screen in Dreamgirls as a cast-off of the Dreams, which of course was really the Supremes, that was it. And then she ended with her triumphant moment when she said, this is dedicated to Florence Ballard, and that's the woman who's, in real life, she portrayed on the screen, who did not have the happy ending that she has in the movie. Florence ended up dying in poverty, addicted to pills and booze at the age of 32.
And people often look to the Golden Globes as a precursor, or at least a predictor, to what we may see at the Oscars. And I know there is a difference in terms of categories. They separate dramas and musicals or comedies. So have Dreamgirls and Babel, in your opinion, kind of separated themselves from the pack?
They have reinvigorated the pack, I think. I talk to Oscar voters every day, and it seems as if The Departed is way ahead for Best Picture. And this is great because these are 2 fine films. I'm actually a Dreamgirls fan. I'm emotionally invested in this year, which is not a good thing when you're an awards expert. So I'm cheering that on. And I think Babel is one of the greatest movies of the year, certainly. And I loved the decisions last night.
Yeah, I thought they were great, too. In fact, we saw 2 veterans, Helen Mirren and Meryl Streep, both winning. What did you make of that?
Thank you very much.
Well, there were no upsets at all last night. We knew all of these wins were coming, but I think what the Globes are, going back to your Oscar parallel, is more than 2/3 of the winners at the Oscars in the lead category and in Best Picture win first at the Globes, and that Globe moment is your audition for the Oscar. That's how Hilary Swank won for Boys Don't Cry at the Oscars. She was so magnificent on the Globe stage that carried her the whole way. Well, we had a lot of dull acceptance speeches last night, including, by the way, Helen Mirren. And Meryl Streep was great.
She
you have to look at a moment like that with those 2 dames and go, well, you know what? This helped Meryl a little bit.
Yeah, and we're out of time, but Eddie Murphy, I love that he won. Is he finally going to be taken seriously?
He was terrible at the podium last night. Come on, where was the big Eddie Murphy moment we were waiting for?
He was a serious actor, right?
Thank you.
All right, Tom O'Neill.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Amy.
Amy, we have some more information now on this fire we've been watching in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. It's a train derailment, and the cars are on fire. There's some wire copy from the Associated Press that quotes the emergency coordinator, who says southbound air flights are being diverted from the area. They also say they're going car to car in an effort to determine what is burning. Obviously, what is burning is very important because there may be a health issue involved with this, depending on the substances that are being carried. So we're going to continue to watch this very closely. We're going to take a break now, but we're reaching out to people in the area.
Honey, have you seen my Lean Pocket sandwiches?
Lean Pockets? Lean Pockets?
Lean Pockets.
No, hon. All that rich, hearty taste and only 7 grams of fat.
You are 4 of a kind.
4 of a kind. I fold. The surprising taste of Lean Pockets brand sandwiches.
Would you like to refinance your adjustable mortgage to a low fixed rate and pull out some extra cash? Just use our free online e-appraisal calculator to find out how much your home is really worth. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED, a GMAC company.
I'm thinking of a number between 450 and 850. Do you know what it is? It's my credit score, and it happens to be 720. The higher my credit score, the better chance I have of saving a lot of money. Do you know your credit score? Do you know what's in your credit report? You can find out right now at freecreditreport.com. You can even print it out if you want to. How much easier could it get? Log on to freecreditreport.com. That's freecreditreport.com.
Free credit report offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
If you're a man over 50, it's time to take the Avodart quiz. Are you always going? Do you have trouble going? Are you going at night? Maybe you think you have a going problem. But what if it's a growing problem? What if it's not your bladder, but instead you have an enlarging prostate? 50% of men over 50 do, and you may be able to do something about that going and growing with Avodart. Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avodart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms. Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition, such as prostate cancer. So have regular prostate exams. Avodart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avodart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Have you called your doctor? Avodart, for your growing problem.
There's the week, there's the weekend, and then there's the weekender.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the subscription from the New York Times, I love it.
Like your whole weekend's just started. It's come a little early.
So the deal is you call the 1-800 number, and then you get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $3.25, which is half off, which is pretty crazy.
So you get the Friday paper, and boom, you're right into the weekend.
Saturday. The word alone makes me happy. I love to sort of pull everything out of the Sunday paper.
Travel section.
Magazine.
Weekend review.
The international news.
The book review. I got these really great boots after reading the Sunday style section.
All I did was call the 1-800 number.
I'm not one of those call now people.
Call!
You should call now.
I love to have the New York Times delivered.
Who doesn't like to save money?
Call now because it's a great deal.
It's like having a table of contents for everything in the world.
I mean, how much would you give for that?
The Weekender subscription from the New York Times. Get it now for as low as $3.25 a week. Call 1-800-820-4466.
Who doesn't like to start the weekend a day early?
We take you back now to Shepherdsville, Kentucky, where you see a massive fire following a train derailment there. We've been listening in to some of the conversations the helicopter pilot's having over the scene right now. We know that about 30 to 40 cars are involved right now. Authorities on the scene trying to figure out exactly what is burning, what was inside these cars once they derailed. Obviously something incredibly flammable there as we take a look at this huge fire taking place. We understand that air flights, southbound air flights, are being diverted from the area, and there is big concern obviously as to what may be in the air given what may be burning. Large plumes of black smoke literally blanketing the area. We know that some trees and shrubbery in the area are now on fire as the fire continues to move, and once it burns through a lot of that shrubbery, it looks like it's headed to burn perhaps even more cars that are still on the track that did not initially get derailed in the accident. So there's some big concerns there in Kentucky at this hour with that fire truck steadily trying to pump some water, but not looking like it's getting too far in terms of tamping this down. We'll continue to keep an eye on this. As soon as we get more information, we'll pass it along to you. In Iraq today, at least 26 people were killed, dozens more wounded in a series of bombings across Baghdad. The violence highlighting the challenges faced by the Americans as additional troops prepare to head to the capital as part of President Bush's surge. A new USA Today Gallup poll shows just 38% of Americans support an increase in the troops. 59% oppose it. NBC's Patty Culhane is live at the White House. So, Patty, this poll suggests the big PR push from the administration last week failed, so to speak, to change people's minds about this surge. Does that raise the stakes for the State of the Union address next week?
You know, Amy, it really does. It's one more chance for the president to make his case directly to the American public. Still, over the weekend, the president and the vice president made it very clear that they have no intention of listening to the polls. They are going to push forward with their plan, trying to quell the criticism from Democrats by, in essence, saying, if you don't like our plan, fine, come up with one of your own. Amy?
And on the other hand, we should mention the poll shows the public divided when it comes to cutting off funding for those troops headed over to Baghdad. 47% support cutting off the funding, 50% oppose it. Democrats obviously had been threatening this, or at least putting conditions on that funding. Does this poll perhaps put the brakes on the Democrats' plans?
Well, what happened here is the administration said we already have the funding from Congress to send the troops over, putting the Democrats in Congress in the position of having to cut off funding for troops already on the ground. That is a very dangerous political proposition, one that some senior Democrats have said they are simply just not willing to do. This administration saying they don't think Congress will actually go that far.
All right, Patty Culhane, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. Well, the miraculous recovery of two Missouri boys who were allegedly abducted is now being attributed to one of the boys' classmates. Mitchell Holtz spotted a pickup truck speeding away from where Ben Ownby had last been seen. He alerted authorities, who ultimately spotted that truck and found both the boys.
I'm just glad they're both alive and in good health, or in good hands now, instead of with that guy. I'm just glad they're both okay.
And speaking with Meredith,
Ben, do you and Mitchell know each other very well, or in the past did you know each other very well?
Yeah, I've known him since I was like very young.
What would you like to say to Mitchell?
Thank you for being such a great big help in this entire thing.
All right, we're going to have a full report on the latest on this case in just a few moments. Cuban dictator Fidel Castro may be close to death. A Spanish newspaper is reporting the 80-year-old leader is in grave condition following 3 failed surgeries. NBC News producer Mary Murphy is on the phone from Havana, Cuba. And Mary, the Spanish report was apparently written of doctor notes taken before Castro's health exam last month. Do they tell us anything new about his condition?
Well, Amy, you know, the Spanish newspaper, in one hand, it published the most detailed account of Castro's condition to date, but to be truthful, the article basically strung together all the rumors that have been circulating here since the start of Castro's illness, and in the case here, the newspaper was also unable to get anyone to speak on the record. We heard back in August that the 80-year-old Castro underwent at least 2 operations. The newspaper now is saying 3, to repair bleeding in his large intestine. We know from a letter that Castro actually wrote to the nation in September that he was in grave condition, and he even said that his recovery, his survival was not a guarantee. In December, we had sources who told us that Castro was not on his deathbed but remained in serious condition, complications impairing his recovery, that he was on a liquid diet as reported in the newspaper. He was frail and thin, even though his mind remained sharp. So I think the news remains that 6 months after Castro fell ill, Amy, he still has not been seen in public. He is still too ill to rule this country, and people here, quite frankly, continue to question if he will ever be well enough to resume power. Amy?
All right, Mary Murphy. Thank you, Mary. Want to take you back to that scene in Kentucky at this hour. There's a lovely shot of the helicopter over the scene, but as the camera starts to zoom in, you get just a taste of what we've been looking at throughout the morning. You see that big black plume of smoke, and here we look at an earlier video. This train derailed just south of Louisville, about 20 miles south of Louisville in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And we know that something is burning there along the tracks, and firefighters and officials are there trying to determine exactly what that may be, what the train was carrying that clearly has been proven to be so flammable, and that fire has spread to several of the area, like the shrubs, the trees around the train tracks, all on fire at this hour. It's jumped the road in at least one area, and we know that fire crews have a big task on their hands. About 30 to 40 cars derailed. There are still some cars on the train tracks, but they look in jeopardy of burning as well, as this fire is spreading so quickly at this hour. We also know that southbound air flights are being diverted from the area. They're not exactly sure, again, what may be burning, what may be in the air at this point in time. But as I take a look, they say there's some type of an explosion. We had a train derailment with some type of an explosion. This is from Kentucky State Police. There were no immediate reports of injuries from the wreck. This happened at about 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. And we know that authorities are preparing to shut down a portion of Interstate 65. That must be at least close to the area here where we see so many of these flames. This is a huge problem for folks this morning in Kentucky. And again, we know now, we're hearing from police that there was some type of an explosion following this train derailment and obviously the subsequent fire. We're going to continue to keep you updated on the situation as soon as we get some more information on this train derailment. Well, keeping you up to the minute here on MSNBC, authorities are continuing the investigation into the mysterious abductions of 13-year-old Ben Ownby and 15-year-old Sean Hornbeck, who were discovered by authorities late last week. For the latest developments, we are joined from Union, Missouri by NBC's Ron Blum. So, Ron, do we have any more information on the suspect in this case, Michael Devlin? We're waiting on when he may be in court.
Well, Michael Devlin's still in the county jail here in Union and under close surveillance by the deputies there, the jailers. His arraignment is not set yet, and in fact, I just came from the judge's chambers who will preside over this, and his clerk is saying that they have not set a time. In fact, while I was there, first the prosecutor, then the sheriff walked in, and they said to each other, we got to figure this out. They went inside the judge's office, shut the door in front of me, came out about a minute later, and the prosecutor and sheriff left to go to the prosecutor's office to talk about this, to work out the logistics. So this arraignment has not been set yet. Right now he faces one count of kidnapping. Another count from the neighboring county where Sean Hornbeck was taken will also be added, and we're told that federal charges should be expected. Could be child pornography charges if indeed, as reports suggested, he had that on his computer, and also federal kidnapping charges could come into play here as well. He's being held on $1 million bond. His attorneys say they're not going to challenge that, but they do say they're going to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf when this plea does take place. Now, the prosecutor had said Saturday that they really didn't feel a great rush to push ahead on this because, after all, they have their man in custody and they have the two kids safely back. So that's the latest on the legal status right here, Amy.
And, Ron, in terms of who Michael Devlin is, we have a little bit more information. We know he was a pizzeria owner, or at least was the manager there, and he had a lot of interaction with local police, it seems.
Well, that pizza parlor is very close to the Kirkwood police station, so most of the officers were familiar with him. In fact, he was kind of described as, you know, one of the characters of the neighborhood, and everybody knew him on sight. He's a very big fellow, about 300 pounds, about 6'2", I think, in stature. So he was well known. At the apartment complex, they considered him a little less friendly than his coworkers at the pizza parlor, who thought he was a very, smart, sharp-witted fellow. At the apartment complex, he was a little more known for his road rage in the parking lot, battling to protect his parking place that was closest to the door of his apartment. One of the immediate next-door neighbors said they had heard yelling and loud, violent-type noises, shouting perhaps, coming from his apartment. So that is a different portrait emerging from the two worlds. And then his family members said they had no clue that he had a young boy in his apartment.
All right, Ron Blum, we appreciate it. Thank you. Donald Trump is in the middle of more controversy, and no, this one does not involve Rosie O'Donnell. Back in 2003, when he was planning his Trump International Hotel and Tower in downtown Chicago, he gave about 40 insiders a very good deal on the property. Well, now Trump says that deal is off, and those people have to pay the higher current asking price. Trump blames the change of heart on higher construction costs. Well, upstate New York is just the latest region to be slammed by a crushing ice storm. Utility crews are working around the clock to get power back on to 85,000 customers. Half an inch of ice dragged down power lines and snapped trees in half. At least 3 people were killed Monday near Syracuse on the icy roads. WeatherPlus.com meteorologist Jackie Moretsky is tracking today's conditions. And Jackie, I hear there's another bad storm brewing, this one over Texas.
A lot of moisture in Texas, Amy, feeding into that cold Arctic air mass. And I'm sure you noticed that big winter jacket, that parka that Ron Blum was wearing in Missouri, about 21 degrees where he is there in central Missouri. And if I was just going to focus on cold temperatures, I have about 12 states to choose from. However, something a lot more dramatic going on in Texas. Look at these temperatures, this cold Arctic blast coming all the way down to South Texas, and consequently what we're looking at is snow, ice, freezing rain and sleet, and a combination thereof across hill country and south central Texas. So let's focus on San Antonio. What we're looking at is a winter storm warning. The kicker is that it's such a slow moving system. This air mass doesn't want to leave Texas until Wednesday, at which point temperatures will start to come up, and we're going to keep that moisture, but what will happen is you'll get more of a rain event. So it's going to take at least another day before all this ice can melt from Dallas all the way down to Corpus Christi. We've got freezing conditions. Amy, I am going with San Antonio because it is so cold, and they've got periods of freezing rain before 2 p.m. and then likely some snow through the overnight. Back to you.
All right, Jackie, thank you. Investigators in West Virginia have found the body of a 9th victim in the charred debris of a 5-story apartment building. Officials say the roof and part of one of the floors had collapsed, slowing their search efforts. The fire took place late Saturday night, and 2 people remain in critical condition. The British paparazzi could be in legal trouble for snapping pictures of Prince William's girlfriend. Lawyers for Kate Middleton say they have video that shows photographers harassing the possible future Queen consort. NBC's Donna Friesen joins us now from London. So, Donna, what is in this video that Middleton's lawyer claim is so intrusive?
Well, we don't know because we haven't seen it. Nobody's actually seen it except for the lawyers themselves, but it's described as disturbing. It was taken secretly by photographers working for the lawyers for Kate Middleton last week outside her home and her office, and when she was coming and going from restaurants and nightclubs on her own without Prince William, and apparently shows how many photographers were chasing after her and how close they were getting to her. Now, it's been reported that Prince Charles and Prince William both agreed to have this video shot after lawyers said it was a good way to build a case showing how she's being harassed, certainly in the past week at least. Her lawyers, subsequent to this, have sent a letter to the Press Complaints Commission saying they have this video and warn they will make a formal complaint the next time someone steps out of line. Now, her lawyers accept there will be occasions such as her birthday when attention will focus on her, but what they don't want is to have her hounded every single day when she's going about her business without the prince.
Yeah.
Amy?
How are the British people reacting to Middleton's situation, given its eerie similarities to what happened to Princess Diana?
Yeah, well, there certainly was a sense of deja vu and a feeling that no lessons have been learned since Diana's death. Here's another young woman dating an heir to the throne being chased around town. The mood, though, is different now. Of course, the tabloids and us as well want to see her, want to know if she and William are going to get engaged. But letting the paparazzi get out of control is something that no one seems to want, which is why a number of newspapers in this country have imposed voluntary bans on buying paparazzi photos. So she hasn't been on the front pages for the last couple of days, but you know, Kate and William remain a very hot couple, and they can't, I don't think, ever expect to be completely out of the limelight. Amy?
Okay, Donna Friesen, we appreciate it. Thanks. Cash from criminals. It is a controversial plan to offset rising police costs, and it is stirring up controversy in Massachusetts. Some say criminals won't ultimately foot the bill, but their families will. And is that fair?
The end of artificial color? Yes, with Natural Match, L'Oreal's most natural-looking color. It even complements my skin tone. It's the only permanent color system with aloe and green tea. It's a gentle experience, not a drop of ammonia. Natural Match Hair Color by L'Oreal Paris.
They fire the coals with precision, mixing sauces, marinades, and rubs in secrecy. They are barbecue fanatics in search of perfect taste. But perhaps starting with better pork is the real secret. Cargill worked with customers to create more marbled cuts of pork. With special feeds and selection techniques, we achieve the tenderness people crave and a taste as classic as those who cook it. This is how Cargill works with customers.
There's a something to remind me of another place and time.
Hi. Is that credit or debit? Debit. Is that the card that puts money in your savings?
Enroll in Keep the Change, and each time you make a purchase with your Bank of America Visa check card, we round up the amount to the next dollar.
So if this costs $3.24, your savings gets
76 cents.
And transfer your change from your checking to your savings account.
And if it were $3.52, you'd get
48.
13.
87.
Keep the Change helps you save for something really important, like a really good education. Keep the Change, only from Bank of America.
Tell me how that Tiny Cat's litter works.
Well, it's revolutionary. Now it's formulated to absorb quickly and create crumble-free clumps, which means odor's locked in, so you can have numerous felines over and no one would ever know.
You are such a bad boy.
You know it.
So can I invite some friends?
Yes.
Come on in,
Boys?
Tidy Cats. Multiple strengths for multiple cats.
Hey, that's my sister. I got something here that can help build more houses, design more decks, and help more people. Bayer Aspirin helps prevent 1 out of 3 heart attacks for people at appropriate risk. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. Bayer, expect wonders.
Thank you to every American who has not sued me so far. Thank you.
Sacha Baron Cohen there. One of the few times we've seen the actor actually out of character. He won a Golden Globe for Borat, and he won for lead actor in a musical or comedy. And there you heard him joking about the number of people who have sued him for the controversial movie. Another big winner at the Golden Globes, veteran director Martin Scorsese for his movie The Departed. Although the movie didn't win, Scorsese is now a front-runner for Oscar. And I want to take a live look at some developing stories at this hour. We understand we just got some tape in Colorado. There is a fire that took place in an apartment complex right now. We understand that this is an early morning fire, and authorities are working it. And we also want to take a live look at what's going on in Kentucky right now. We know that a train derailed. There has been a tremendous amount of fire and smoke in the area. An interstate has shut down. This is Shepherdsville, Kentucky. We know that emergency crews are going car to car in an effort to determine exactly what was on those tankers, some of which the train was carrying, and what is burning, what's going into the air. There are definitely some residences nearby. We know a school nearby has not been evacuated, but is following emergency protocol at this hour. Again, so I-65 is closed at this hour given that situation, the train derailment and the fire. We'll continue to keep our eye on that. And now to the video I promised you in Colorado Springs. Dozens of residents forced out of their homes following this fire as firefighters attacking that with quite a bit of water. This was reported to have happened around 12:45 a.m. local time. Several hours trying to figure out just how many people had escaped this 130-unit building. Right now they don't have any idea, or at least they didn't at the time this went to print, as to whether or not they got everybody out of the building at this point in time. You know they're evacuating it. Flames roared from the top level of at least one of the buildings. So quite a fire there, waking up quite a number of residents in this fairly large apartment complex in Colorado Springs. By the way, they were thrown out into sub-freezing conditions. This was at the Castle West Apartments in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Well, a controversial plan proposed by the governor of Massachusetts would charge convicted criminals a safety fee to help offset the cost of additional police officers in the state. Critics of such a plan say charging criminals additional fees amounts to piling on and ends up being a burden to their families who technically haven't done anything wrong. Here to talk about it, former Massachusetts prosecutor Bill Fallon and criminal defense attorney Elaine Whitfield Sharp. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Amy. Thanks for having us. Hi, Bill.
How are you doing?
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you guys were able to say hi to one another. Bill, let me ask you this. The governor hasn't said exactly how much this may cost. There is a similar plan that the state runs to charge those convicted some fees for witnesses and court costs and to pay back victims, but it could be in the area of $90. Do you see that as a burden?
I think it a burden, an appropriate burden. The question is it an undue burden? And I think that this is when the government is making the most sense. How can we have a system that really works, that doesn't burden the taxpayer, that says to the person who uses the police officer in the worst way, the police officer has to come, arrest them, write the report, potentially appear in court. Make no mistake, $90 does not cover the thousands of dollars it might cost a police officer to come, but it strikes a balance. This is Governor Patrick's deal. I think it's appropriate. Kevin Burke, his Secretary of Public Safety, is the one who came up with the victim witness fee assessment. That has worked unbelievably. Victims have been able to get counseling and services based on that. I say let communities thrive. Let them say, you know what, you're going to pay a little more because you use these police, not just for your safety, but they have to process you because you broke the law. I feel bad for their families, but guess what? It's a fee they have. It's a fee that they might get another year, another 2 years. Let's bring common sense to government. That's what Governor Patrick has done.
Elaine, it looks like the governor is hoping $10 million could be raised annually by this. He says that will pay for half of the 250 police officers he wants to bring into the area to help fight crime. Why shouldn't criminals help pay to fight crime?
Well, the problem is that this is really a safety fee that acts as a tax on the poor. I mean, you're talking about people who are earning on average less than $11,000 a year. And if they're earning less than $7,000 a year when they're put away, guess what? They're certainly going to be earning a heck of a lot less when they come out. You know, and let's not forget, these people have already paid the price by losing their freedom. I just don't want to see families punished. I'm not saying this is a bad idea. What I'm saying is I think we need to take a closer, more intelligent look at it. I see nothing in this proposal that says these police officers are going to go to the communities where they're needed. They're not needed in Martha's Vineyard and Marblehead, I can tell you that. They are needed in Roxbury and Dorchester. I'd like to know, before this fee is levied, where are these cops going to go? Are they really going to the places where they're needed? Or is this just a way of not taxing the middle class and the rich? Is this just a way of imposing more punishment on poor people?
Amy, but let me just say,
Bill, what do we know about
Elaine,
the oversight of these programs?
Wait, these oversight of these programs usually go through the court. One thing I will tell you is with all the arrests in Boston and all the problems they have and the need they have for these police officers, the majority of arrests, and Elaine, you know this, most criminals do not go to prison. 99% of the people processed in the courts never see a lock other than in the courtroom. And the point is those people are going to be out, they're going to be free, they're going to be working. And why not communities like Boston, like Springfield, like Worcester, like New Bedford? They really need these police officers. That will go back to the community. It'll go back to the coffers there. And I think you'll see that will be worked out. And guess what? The people in Boston are going to say, I am so glad that I have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more police officers in my community to keep me safe from people like this who are going to, in fact, break laws and go to the courtroom. Let's balance this.
Maybe
the good people get a little help.
Bill, maybe you're right. Okay, I will concede that there are communities that need more police power. No doubt about it. You're right there. What I'm saying is I don't know that this is the right way to go about it. Look, most people who are accused of crimes, who get caught, they don't have any money to begin with. They're going for indigent defense counsel. They're getting appointed lawyers. I mean, we're talking about, you know, taking more money from people who don't have it in the first place. Where is it going to come from? It's going to come from the table of those families. It's taking food out of the mouths of poor people. That's what I don't like about it. I don't like the sound
Elaine, you know, a
of it.
judge can make that determination, but let them go out and work in public service then. As you know, there are public service things. Let them clean up communities. It doesn't have to just be the cash. I'm sure judges will say,
yeah, but you know, the full employment program here hasn't worked, and people aren't hiring ex-convicts, that's for sure.
Elaine Whitfield-Sharp, Bill Fallon, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Hillary Clinton will be speaking about Iraq today, and many are waiting to see if she will publicly take on comments from potential presidential rival John Edwards that suggested it's time for her to speak up more clearly against the war.
Keith Olbermann, topical and bitingly hilarious, hipper than the evening news.
It's a hard act to copy. Countdown with Keith Olbermann, tonight at 8, only on MSNBC.
Worried about rising monthly payments in your adjustable mortgage? What if you had a mortgage with the option of a low monthly payment and a fixed rate for the life of your loan? Well, at ditech.com, we have a totally new fixed rate mortgage that enables you to keep your monthly payment low with the security of knowing that your rate will never change. At Ditech, you can feel confident that you're being taken care of every step of the way. Call 1-800-71-FIXED or log on to Ditech.com, a GMAC company.
I'm thinking of a number between 450 and 850. Do you know what it is? It's my credit score, and it happens to be 720. The higher my credit score, the better chance I have of saving a lot of money. Do you know your credit score? Do you know what's in your credit report? You can find out right now at freecreditreport.com. You can even print it out if you want to. How much easier could it get? Log on to freecreditreport.com. That's freecreditreport.com.
Free credit report offer applies with enrollment in triple.
Hi, this is John for DickHanna.com, your virtual auto dealership where you can shop over 3,000 new and pre-owned vehicles online. DickHanna.com is open 24/7 with all the info you need to make an informed decision. Prices, trade-in values, virtual test drives. You can even apply for a loan. And only Dick Hanna has the exclusive Customers for Life program with tires, car washes, rental cars for life, and more. Heck, you can even shop in your pajamas. It's all online 24/7 at DickHanna.com. Click, buy, and save at DickHanna.com.
Check this out.
What is it?
It's our new high speed. It's what makes us faster than DSL.
Where'd you go?
Peru.
Liar.
Oh, John, si nos comemos un saldo de pollo.
No thanks, I just ate.
Gracias.
The president says his war plan is a new way forward. But could tough talk lead to war with Iraq's neighbors? Scarborough Country, MSNBC tonight at 9.
I lost my job and my health insurance. The first thought was, how am I going to get my medication I need? I was in a lot of trouble.
If you're uninsured and struggling, America's pharmaceutical companies want to help. Call 1-888-4PPA now to see if you may qualify.
PPA saves me $1,300 a month.
We've been to nearly 1,000 cities in all 50 states, helping more than 3 million people in need.
Without my wife and PPA, I don't know if I could have been here today.
The Partnership for Prescription Assistance, on the road to helping you.
All right, we take you back now to Kentucky as firefighters and authorities continue to fight this fire that ensued following a train derailment in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. That's about 20 miles south of Louisville. At this time, we still don't know exactly what was inside those cars at the time of derailment. They're trying to determine that, obviously, because a huge plume of black smoke is blanketing the area. We know that a local school, the Hillview Elementary School, now being evacuated to a nearby middle school because of the concerns there. We know that I-65, a portion of it, has been shut down as well because of this train derailment. We don't have any immediate reports of injuries, but what a fire. It is now burning off the tracks. It's been burning onto the grassy area. Some shrubs and some trees are in flames. And it looks like there's a pretty big wind there with the way that smoke is covering that area just to the right of the train derailment itself. We know about 30 to 40 cars involved. And again, still efforting information. Authorities still trying to figure out exactly what is burning inside of those cars. As soon as we get that information and any concerns that there may be because of it, we'll pass along to you. In the meantime, though, this afternoon, Senator Hillary Clinton will be briefing the press on her most recent trip to Iraq. And in fact, we'll be watching to see if she comes out any stronger against the president's plan to add troops to Iraq and what she says about proposals by some Democrats to cut off funding for that surge. She is feeling pressure on Iraq from a possible rival in the 2008 race, John Edwards. On Sunday, he made a not-so-veiled attack on the senator.
Silence is betrayal. Speak out and stop this escalation now. You have the power, members of Congress, to prohibit this president from spending any money to escalate this war. Use that power. Use it now.
Mark Walsh is a Democratic strategist and co-host of Left Jab on XM Satellite Radio. And from the other side, Republican strategist Brad Blakeman. Thank you both.
Thank you. Hello, all.
So, Mark, what do you expect to hear from Hillary Clinton this afternoon?
Well, I think the optics of this are going to be pretty clear to everybody who's watching. She has to make sure that people understand that her visits to Iraq and now Afghanistan have given her the ammunition and, frankly, the sort of the context to start to be as aggressive on being negative about this war as John Edwards' sort of call out yesterday or a couple of days ago would have implied, for her to just sort of magically start to say, oh, what a horrible idea, I'm so sorry I voted for it, and I'm so sorry that I originally supported on it, would maybe label her a flip-flopper, and gosh knows we're seeing that label against Romney and McCain and others. So to avoid that, I think her trip is going to give her the very basis to start to be so aggressively negative on the war as John Edwards' call-out may have implied.
So, Brad, what do you make of the timing of Clinton's Iraq trip? Was this trip as much about 2008 as it was about the Iraq surge?
Absolutely. I mean, Hillary stuck between Iraq and a hard place. Last week, she was absent without leave when there was a debate on the war after the president's speech, and she said to herself, what do I do? Well, she goes out of the country, she goes to Iraq, and now she gets the stage to herself today to make her statement on the war. And I think what she's going to do is she's going to tacitly say that she's not for the plan, but the president's the commander-in-chief, and therefore he has the right to have his plan go forward. We're going to use congressional oversight. I think that's what she's going to say, because she cannot flip-flop, as Mark said. She's an ardent supporter of the war. She voted for the war. She supported the troops. She voted for the Patriot Act. She can't do a 180 now.
Well, Mark, as you potentially suggested, does this trip, though, provide some cover for the senator so that she's not necessarily flip-flopping, but yet just adjusting to the realities on the ground as she saw them?
Well, listen, you said it perfectly, exactly right. She mentioned the word, I think used the word heartbreaking about the situation that she saw. Look, the American public needs to know that its potential candidates for 08 have been on the ground and have seen exactly what is happening there. You can argue all you want about her prior support, and I think Brad has some points, certainly, that she's going to have to address during the campaign. But by going over there and coming back and saying things like it's heartbreaking and saying things like Karzai in Afghanistan is not seeing support from the U.S., only by being there can she start to build a case to the American public and voters for her in 08, if she decides to run, that she has learned more and now knows what she needs to know. Obviously, Edwards can stand in a pulpit and say all he wants to, because he's got a lot more of a legacy about being negative in the war. But this war is the issue going forward, and Clinton has to build a case for the American public as to why she has become so negative now.
Brad, do you think Clinton today will make any reference to that silence is betrayal comment or attack from John Edwards? We heard at least some of her people from the campaign making direct reference to John Edwards, disappointed that he's turned negative after running such a previously positive presidential campaign.
Well, if Hillary were smart, she'd make no mention to Edwards and really ignore him, because it's easy to be critical when you're not governing, and Senator Edwards, quite frankly, is not governing. So he can make all these ultimatums and demands upon those who are, but if Hillary's smart, treat him like he's not there, and she should be speaking from her heart and her convictions as to what she's seen in Iraq, and speak to her record.
All right, Brad Blakeman, Mark Walsh, thank you. We appreciate it.
See you later.
Thank you.
Amy, we're following a couple of different breaking news stories. This is the video. This is tape we're getting in right now from Colorado. This is an apartment fire, very large apartment fire, dozens of people out on the streets. And if we have that video of the Kentucky train, actually we have it on REM 25 up there. This is video of the Kentucky train crash. We're getting some new information on this. A hazardous materials warning has been issued for Bullitt County, Kentucky, which is where this train derailed. That suggests they may know more about what's on this train. I-65 in the area has been closed near the smoke. We're going to continue to follow this. We're going to take a break. A lot of very busy days, so we'll have more on it after the break.
Meet Aaron and Clark, a typical married couple.
She's hit me with some really solid punches.
Well, except for all the extreme fighting.
You see this big cut on my forehead there? That is from Aaron.
Guess sometimes love really does hurt. Now, see how she treats an opponent.
I intend to overwhelm her and just punch her face in.
MSNBC's hard-hitting news series continues, Warrior Nation. Tonight at 10, only on MSNBC.
Good job. Still running in the morning?
Yeah,
Getting your vegetables every day?
when I can.
Could have had a V8, 100% vegetable juice, with 3 of your daily vegetable servings in every little bottle.
Forget fine lines. It's deep wrinkles that make us look older. Neutrogena Anti-Wrinkle Intensive Serum delivers 4 times the retinol to help fill in the look of even the deepest wrinkles. Don't let deep wrinkles tell your age. Anti-Wrinkle Intensive Serum. Neutrogena.
Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh! You want me, baby?
The chocolate chunks everybody wants. Chunky Chips Ahoy! They go fast.
There's the week, there's the weekend, and then there's the weekender.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the subscription from the New York Times, I love it.
Like your whole weekend's just started. It's come a little early.
So the deal is you call the 1-800 number, and then you get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for $3.25, which is half off, which is pretty crazy.
So you get the Friday paper, and boom, you're right into the weekend.
Saturday. The word alone makes me happy. I love to sort of pull everything out of the Sunday paper.
Travel section.
Magazine.
Weekend review.
The international news.
The book review.
I got these really great boots after reading the Sunday style section.
All I did was call the 1-800 number.
I'm not one of those call now people.
Call!
You should call now.
I love to have the New York Times delivered.
Who doesn't like to save money?
Call now because it's a great deal.
It's like having a table of contents for everything in the world.
I mean, how much would you give for that?
The Weekender subscription from the New York Times. Get it now for as low as $3.25 a week. Call 1-800-820-4466.